we'll get now to a couple of verses from the Chumash and his commentary on it. And this is based on some of the sources that you provided beforehand. I did not come up with these myself. So in terms of Hirsch's approach towards humanity, one of the sources that you had graciously provided was the klala, the curse that was given to Adam Arishon, to man after the forbidden act. And it seems from my reading of Hirsch that Hirsch says that is not really a curse on man, and goes into a whole explanation of why not. And so how does that explanation tie into this concept of optimism towards humanity?
Okay, terrific. So sometimes I think when one's analyzing a thinker, it pays to maybe think who they're reacting to or what they're polemicizing against. So as you said, I think Rav Hirsch does have an optimistic approach to humanity, which we'll see several manifestations of that. And clearly, if you're a religious Jew and you know a little bit of the history of Christianity, right, so the doctrine of original sin is certainly lurking there as a potential rival to a more optimistic conception. Now, I apologize. I don't know if we have any Christian listeners, but I'm going to oversimplify a little bit. Okay, but I guess we're safe here. Okay, but many Christian thinkers will talk about kind of an inherent corruption of humanity. Like once Adam and Eve sin, it becomes a part and parcel of what it means to be a human being, to the extent that salvation cannot be achieved independently anymore. Like we need, Jesus to die for humanity. That's the only dramatic thing that could redeem this corrupt institution. So that is something Rav Hirsch is very against. Rav Hirsch thinks that's not a Jewish concept, that Judaism believes with all the difficulties, humanity is capable of greatness. Humanity can use its free will to do great things. And therefore, I think he wants to polemicize to some degree against original sin. So it's very interesting what he does here, because often if you're writing a Parasha on Chumash, I think it's very interesting because Parasha on Chumash could also be a book of Jewish theology. Like it's hard to not discuss theology in Chumash, but you end up kind of on two tracks. There's kind of like a literary interpretive track, like you're reading the words very carefully. And there's simultaneously kind of this theological track. And obviously in an ideal universe, they'd go together. So here, in terms of what Rav Hirsch does, I think he does an interesting move on the literary plane. He says it's true that God reacts to this sin. And he responds, let's say, to the snake and to Chava and to Adam. But Rav Hirsch says, let's do a close reading and see where the verb arur, or the word arur appears. What exactly is cursed in this narrative? So the Nachash is cursed. There's no denying that. But when God speaks to Adam, it doesn't say arur ha'adam. It's the Adamah that is cursed, says Rav Hirsch. And Rav Hirsch is very adamant about that. And he says that the implicit message is that humanity has not shifted in a dramatic way. Meaning what has happened as a result of this sin, the conditions in which humanity functions changes, right? Now, it will be more difficult to cultivate the land. But that doesn't mean that there's been a shift in the very soul of humanity. There is no arur applied to humanity. And therefore, if Hirsch reads this section again, and he's very explicitly arguing with the Christian view, there's no doctrine of original sin here. Humanity is not inherently corrupt. Humanity is still capable of achieving salvation based on its own efforts.